Hey, it is your pal Bob Saget here, and just letting you know something. The episode you're about to hear was recorded right before the tragic death of George Floyd and everything that has transpired since then. And it's still a valuable episode for me because I get to call people and see how they're doing. And everybody's been suffering, but now we're suffering in a different way and hopefully with more empathy, and hopefully we get more truth and justice and find out how we can all move forward positively. So this is me calling people. I just went crazy for 2 days and called people for 12 hours, and I didn't want to throw away the episodes because if I called people, and I don't want to turn this into a news forum because there's so many people that do it so well. I want it to be solace for people and give them entertainment, or somehow just listen. So this is an episode of Bob Saget's Here for You, where I said my name in a sentence. I got to stop doing that. But I'm just calling people to see how they're doing. I hope you enjoy it. So the first person I'm going to call is someone named Melissa. And I have a feeling she'll be there because some people are not, and I am a blocked number. But if I say I'm going to call at this time, I'm a man of my word. So this is Melissa. And she missed my call last week. She did. Now, hopefully this week will be a different week. Well, we got our wish. It's a different week than last week. So this would be Melissa picking up. Some people are.
Hello.
Hi, Melissa. It's Bob Saget. How are you?
Hi, I'm so glad I answered this time. I'm great. How are you?
I'm great also. Great considering, right? Because we're all in strange closed quarters, right?
Yeah, seriously, all things considered.
Are you, and I missed your call. I apologize. Or you missed my call, but I missed talking to you. And did you not answer because I was a blocked number, or did you not answer because you just were doing something?
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, both. I was working out and I had my phone connected to Bluetooth and it was playing music. And then the phone call came through and I was like, oh, I don't answer those because there's kind of some unemployment scams going on.
Yeah.
And
well,
then when I got your voicemail, I was like, holy crap, of course this phone number is blocked, duh.
Well, actually, this is an unemployment scam. That's what this whole podcast is.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I've set it up. That's why I say, please call me and I'll call you back. And all I need is your credit card and Social Security and your full identity. So Melissa, what part of the world are you in? Where are you?
I am in Dallas, Texas.
I like Dallas. I'm planning to do stand-up there. I had some dates scheduled this year, and everything is gone for a while, but it'll come back. And then
right.
And then you'll come see me, and then you'll be able to come backstage, and we'll be able to not worry about social distancing and take a selfie. So life will be good in a different way.
Yes.
So I think you did the right thing not answering last week by working out, because working out through this kind of thing is essential. What kind of workout do you do?
Well, I use this app called SweatDeck, which I'm sure you could make some really dirty jokes about.
Yeah, I don't want to even touch it, but if it's got sweat in it, I kind of walk away.
Sure. So it's like a digital deck of cards where you assign a different exercise to every suit. And it's good. It's just quick, something to do at the house.
That's really important. And they say that's important. It's important for the brain. It's important to make sure your leg stays in the socket. Because some people, if you're not walking, I walked around the neighborhood one day with my wife, and I was like, we did 2 miles, and people were near us, and this was a couple weeks ago when we were even more scared, and it was like, no, they're too close. Those people, they're 50 feet away. They are much too close. Do you go out?
I had to tell some people to back up at the store.
Now, what do you do? Do you go out? Are you out in the world? Do you go to stores? Do you go on a walk?
So currently both my parents, I'm getting them to stay home, and I'm a chef, but I'm out of work because of Corona,
I'm
and
sorry.
so it's okay. And so I've been cooking meals for them. So I only go to the store when they need stuff, and then I cook for some people in the neighborhood. And so only if I really have to go to the store, but luckily I've been working through my freezer. So it's kind of like a episode of Chopped
Right.
every day here at the house.
Right. What can you make out of an iceberg? Take
Right.
a plastic bag of peas that's 2 years old. That's what I have in mind. I've been
Oh,
trying.
gosh.
Yeah, and I'll eat something. I don't care if it's frostbite. I don't mind, But my wife is
Shoot.
is a good cook and is a foodie person also. So it's amazing that you're giving back. You realize you're doing that, right? By giving people food and by taking care of your parents, you're doing something really nice during this crazy time.
I can't sew, so I can't make masks, and I'm obviously not part of like the frontline essential employees. So it's just nice to feel like I'm doing something, even if it's just psychologically for me, like I'm contributing.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing this. That's why I've decided to reach out to people and say, leave a number because I want to talk to you because it makes me feel good and it seems to make them feel good. But food, you could make a mask out of food. I mean, you could take a piece of
Sure.
you could.
Like a steak.
Well, I don't think you won't walk around with meat hanging out of your mouth, and that's kind of people will think
It worked for Lady Gaga, right?
it did back in the day, and it works for zombies. They
Hmm.
it's expected. But I mean, you could take like an eggplant and peel it and parch some holes in that, and that would
Oh,
serve.
absolutely.
Yeah, right. That would certainly probably look like Hannibal Lecter with an eggplant coming out of his mouth. But so that wasn't clever. But the question I have is, you called in with a question or a subject you wanted to discuss. First, I'm glad to hear that you're not affected by it. It sounds like you're practicing safe everything, and your parents are okay,
Yes.
and friends and stuff. Same thing. People are okay.
Yes.
You're very lucky. That's really wonderful. Wow, it's such an insane time. So, what question did you have or subject? I'll talk about anything.
Well, actually, so I had just reread your book this first week of quarantine.
Oh, thank you.
I got it. Yeah, I think it's great. I got it when it came out, and obviously, so I'm a millennial, so I grew up with Full House, and then I enjoyed Fuller House and everything. And as I got older, it was really nice to see. Well, I don't know if it was nice as so much as it was surprising to see that there was like quite a dichotomy there between your stand-up and obviously the character of Danny Tanner.
Right.
And but I think it's great. I think it's like this multifaceted. I think it's wonderful. And so I was rereading the book, and I just wanted to say that I really appreciate how vulnerable you were in the chapter about drunk driving, because a lot of people, I think, still take it lightly. And so I just really appreciated that. I always appreciate when we see these celebrities as almost these people on a pedestal that we can't really relate to. And when you guys open up like that, it really just makes you accessible.
Well,
So I just want to say thank you.
Oh, thank you. The celebrity is a weird word anyway, because it means
Isn't
that
it?
someone's just famous. And there are people that just want to be famous, and that's all they want. Maybe in the back of their mind, they want to entertain other people. But for the most part, I think they just want that love, and they want to be a star and make a lot of money. And that's not been yes, I wanted to be successful, but I wanted to always, to so many things. I went to film school. I just wanted to be a filmmaker. And then I found out different routes. I ended up at the Comedy Store and doing stand-up for my whole life, and directed stuff and acted in plays and on Broadway and done things that I care about. But writing that book, there's a friend of mine, Kevin McCullum. He's a big producer on Broadway. That's what he tells me all the time. He always says, I'm a big producer on Broadway. That's stealing from Don Rickles, one of my heroes, which is also in the book. And the book was called Dirty Daddy. And maybe the title pushed some people away because maybe they thought I was going to talk dirty, but it did well. It was on the New York Times bestseller list and stuff. But it, it's interesting. I was able to talk about, I'm in my study, and I was just looking at a picture of my two older sisters when I was little, and they're not alive. And And
Right.
this time just connects me so much to how we're all connected, because we all have whatever you went through. You had parents at one point, unless you're
Right.
just a lab situation, and you had good ones or you had not so good ones, or you miss them terribly, or you get to be with them. And it's really interesting that people are like in a house together that might not have even seen each other. You wouldn't see your parents this much. You'd be working, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I actually live with my twin brother, and so I was seeing my parents about, I don't know, every week and a half or every 2 weeks. Um, when I was working, and it was to drop off meals, or we might do like family dinner once a week or whatever. My brother travels for work, so he's only home for 2 days, and I find that I'm cherishing those 2 days. Like we never, our schedules are night and day. We never get to hang out.
It's amazing.
Um,
That's, I hate to say it, but is that one of the good things that's coming from this? I mean, we got to look for something good, even though it's horrific. There has to be, and that is it, isn't it? That you're connecting.
yeah, absolutely. And I think, more people are reaching out to each other in ways that it really should have been happening before, but it's taken this awful, horrible thing for us to realize how connected we are. Like, I'm an introvert, and I've been telling people, I would really like the opportunity to at least politely decline an invitation. you know?
Well, it's interesting that you're a twin. So here's a big thing. I have a lot of twins in my life. I have the one from the TV, who I love very much,
Mm-hmm.
and I had twin first cousins. One who's no longer alive. He was in Vietnam, and he got sprayed, we believe, with Agent Orange, which is not someone in show business. That is a poisonous spray. Here, I do gallows humor. I don't know if everyone knows that, but the book had a lot of it in it. And my humor does too, which is unfortunate, but I can't help it. It's the only way to stay alive for me. And his brother had other
Right.
issues, and some twins drift apart, as my cousins did, and that's unfortunate. And then what I'm sure you were picking up on is my mother had twins before I was born that passed away at 7 and 8 days
Right.
old, and that I'm sure you were like, "Holy crap!" I mean, that's so. My mom and dad
Yeah.
lost 4 kids, but these two, which is hard to follow that up with anything except, it's just the worst. It's the worst thing that exists. But this pandemic that's taking people also we're living through a time that makes everybody just kind of look back at their life, what it's been up to this moment, and then reach out to
Right.
people and go, I'm reaching out to people. I was on a Zoom the other night with people I went to college with, or didn't even go. I was at Temple University, and they were at University of Pennsylvania. They were the smarter kids, but we did comedy shows together. But like the twins that my mom had were born, that, as you know, because you just read it, and thanks again for that. They were born 7 and 8 days apart, because it was like right on the cusp of birth, and
Right.
and they only lived like, I think, like 12 days or something, or I don't even know the whole deal, but because my mom never got it straight. She always told me different things, and I could understand her blocking that out. But like 12 to 14 babies died at this hospital in Philadelphia because they had a disease. It was dysentery, and they didn't tell the parents because they were afraid
Wow.
it would get out. It just sounds familiar, doesn't it? It's like a microcosm of the world, and they didn't tell them because they thought maybe it wouldn't happen, and all the babies died, and so my mom lost these twins. And there's something beautiful about having a twin, and I've met many that just love each other so much, that are just, inseparable. And it sounds like you and your brother have that.
Yeah. I mean, it took a long time for us to get there, but we're best buddies. And I think it helps that he travels for work. So currently he remodels Walmart, and luckily he's working overnight, so he doesn't have contact with the public. But I've been like extremely worried.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I know that Walmart as a company is taking a lot of precautions and everything else. But him being home 2 days a week, usually it would be high and by because he worked nights, and I was working crazy like chef hours, and so we've been cooking together and actually getting to see each other. And the one thing that it's taught me after all this is, I don't know whether I'll get my job back or not, but the next one is sure not going to be as many hours, for sure.
Because you want to enjoy your life.
Life's too short.
Right.
Yeah, life's too short. I just picked up my guitar for the first time this week in a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been amazing. And I've been like, walking my dog and all those things.
Well, that you have to do it. You have to do that.
Do
you put a mask on the
obviously.
dog?
No.
No, they don't. They don't get it, do they?
No, I'm spoiled. So I have like a house with a dog door and a yard, but she's enjoyed it too. And it's like all these things that I always said I never had time to do. Now we have all this time, and it's like, wow, you really take stock of what's important.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more, coming from a life that's been difficult. And my wife and I are in the house, and we're finding out, we have a great relationship, and we've only been married a couple of years. And I mean, the whole family's reaching out, as much as we can. I have two kids in New York, and I miss them terribly. I wish I could get on a plane, but this is not the time. It will be. We'll be back, but it's going to be interesting. It's going to be
it's going to be different. I mean, the whole landscape of the world is just going to be completely different.
That's true. It is. Every 100 years something like this happens, or less. I mean, I was watching that show, The Crown, and because I was.
Oh, it's so good.
Well, I am so glad we talked. I really appreciate you being there. And
it just blew my mind when you posted that thing on Twitter. I thought, when I called and left my name and number, I thought 1,000 people have already beat me to this. Whatever, well, it'll be a cool experience, but
No way. Not when it says missed your call last week in my notes. I was like, absolutely. It's just a pleasure to talk to you. And
it's been unreal. I'm such a huge fan. This is making my day. You have no idea.
You're making mine. That's what this time's about. That's what I cherish about it, and we should not forget this. Not forget that we're able to have connections with other people, and we're all just people. So I can't thank you enough.
Absolutely.
Thanks for answering and not working out. Thank you for not working out.
I put a calendar reminder in my phone to have my phone in my hand about 30 minutes ago.
Well, thank you. And send my best to your parents, and take care of yourself. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Oh, thank you so much. Have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Now, isn't that nice? Doesn't that make you feel good? I'm going to just cover myself with oil and go outside, just rub on a rock. All right. We'll be right back. Wow. I do go on. I feel bad that I go on so long, but I can't help it. I just have stamina. No, that's not it. I like to talk to people, and I hope it's not, annoying that it's just a convo, but I do like to know how people are doing. This is a dude named Craig. We'll see if Craig picks up. And it's hard when you're getting a blocked call to take the risk. It's better than the automated calls that you might have won something, that kind of thing, or a political call, which I don't want that no matter what.
Hi, this is Craig.
Craig, Bob Saget here. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Bob?
I'm good. I'm glad you picked up. I'm a blocked call, as I should be. And how are you? How are you holding up, sir?
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good. Getting through it, one day at a time.
Where are you? What part of the world you be in?
I'm just outside of Chicago.
Yeah, I love Chicago. Where?
A little town called Geneva, about 40 miles west.
Right. I know Geneva, Illinois. That is a town. My wife's from Chicago, and I've played all around there, and I go into anywhere near there. I'll cross state lines.
Okay. Where do you generally do you play, like Chicago theater, or what's your venue?
I've done Chicago theater. I've done what's the one that I love? It's a small house. It's like 900 people. It's
like the Vic.
Not the Vic is where I might do my special. I'm not sure. I was all set
Oh,
up
okay.
to go do it, and I had to cancel all my
Mhm.
dates and reschedule. But when I come to it, you should come to it, and then you get to come backstage because you were on my podcast, and then we'll take a selfie together because social distancing will be allowed. Um,
Absolutely.
Thalia Hall. That's where I play a lot of times there.
Oh yeah. Down in Pilsen. Yep.
And then I'll go out to the
That's a great venue.
Hammond Casino. I'll cross the state line, or I'll play theaters.
Mhm.
You know, just anywhere because I love the Midwest very, very much. And boy, it's
Excellent.
has it hit your small town? Has
Yeah, we have 13 cases here, and we're I think we're about 20,000 population, so it's not very hard hit. We're a commuter town, so I'm really surprised because the trains and everything. Figured we'd be carrying out from the city a lot more, but we've been pretty lucky so far.
right? And anybody is it that close to home?
A friend of mine's mother came down with it, but she's been released from the hospital, thank God, and seems to be doing just fine.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And so now, but still, people are staying at home. They're keeping themselves isolated. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've been working from home since about St. Patrick's Day. So.
Did you do drink on Zoom?
Yeah.
Were you talking to anybody on St. Patty's Day? Were you online?
Yeah, I was actually I was on Zoom with my buddy down in Austin, Texas.
Well, that's awesome.
And we took the view. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Well, I'll be there in January. That I can announce that date. I'll be at the Paramount Theater then because that got rescheduled.
Okay.
So go visit your buddy and we can actually see each other live. So now you called up. Do you have a question or something you wanted to talk about?
Yeah. Well, just basically it was about the Aristocrats.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Yeah. Just wondering what your the longest you've ever taken that joke. How far you've gone with it.
You've seen it. What happened in the outtakes of it, they have the full 30-minute version of what I did. And
okay.
So if people that don't know, the Aristocrats is not the Aristocats, which is a Disney movie, and do not get the DVDs mixed up for the kids. And it's a movie done by Paul Provenza and Penn Jillette, and it had 100 comedians, and all of them told the same joke, which really isn't a joke. It's just how filthy can you do your improv to get to the punchline, which is not even a funny punchline, which is a family does a terrible thing with each other to audition for an agent, and it's disgusting what they do. And the worst thoughts that you can imagine is how the joke is told, what this family does. And then when they're done doing this stuff with and to each other, which is upsetting, so I'm not going into it any further, and I've already repulsed myself and everyone I'm related to. The agent says, "What do you call yourselves?" And they say, "The Aristocrats," or someone says it, or the baby, or the grandmother, or whoever was violated the most. And it's just, if any 13-year-olds are listening, just pretend you're listening to music right now. But George Carlin kind of said it in the beginning of the movie. Don't tell this joke. Don't tell it behind a trash bin. The purpose is, it's like improv, but it's filthy improv because in the movies about censorship, it's about why can't we say these things? But it gets so disgusting sometimes. I don't know why they brought up the word bucket all the time. Some comics went off on the guy gets a bucket. And I'm like, oh, what? I mean, mine just is deviant, but bucket? I'm not good on the bathroom humor, though I have occasionally spewed some myself. But I guess the longest would be the actual making of the film. And I filmed it at the Laugh Factory. And Penn Jillette of Penn & Teller and Paul Provenza, who is from the Green Room on Showtime and a friend for years, they both were egging me on, saying, "Bob, come on." And that's when I was like in the film hitting the table going, "I can't do this. I'm on family television. My career's over." And they cut it out. They cut out them going, "Come on, Bob, just do it. Don't be a pussy." And I'm like, well, okay. Well, then that word would trigger me into another 7 minutes. But I didn't want to do it. I'd only heard the joke twice in my life. And then when the movie came out, it was such a sensation because we hadn't seen First thing, it took them 4 years to make, and they had 100 comedians,
Wow.
mostly of note. Some that are very funny, some that were just plain old gross, like your friend that would, do a back fart on a flatbed. And this dude, I have a friend that does that. He does back farts. He laid on a thing as a high school kid, and he would just just be a fart, but it was the air in his concave back, so that you could do the Aristocrats from that. But audiences have asked me to do it, and it just doesn't work. You cannot do that. You can't do it. And I did it one time at a university years ago. The only 2 times I've done it. One time I started to tell the audience why I can't do it. And then I would say, and the family then starts to, and I mention what they start to do, and the place just gets quiet because the world has changed. And it should change because that movie made its point and people loved it. And I'm appreciative that people thought I was so funny in it. But sometimes, foul language, you don't look at my favorite comedians, are pretty much most people's favorite comedians, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Bill Burr, Mark Maron. I mean, I love Don Rickles. I love, Richard Pryor's my idol. You look through Richard Pryor's material, there's no censorship. My stuff, I think it was that shock value of Night and Day is here's a guy that was playing a father figure that hugged and cleaned stuff, which is all I do now anyway. In this world, I've made it clear that I'm Danny Tanner for good. And I think that was the conflict. And sometimes I dropped a lot of F-bombs in one of my specials, but I don't know. I always found dirty stuff funny if it's innocent and if it's not meant to harm anybody. And it's not dirty. It's not that I mean to be dirty. It's just that's what I find funny because it's how I've survived. And comedians have different ways of surviving. And I don't know. I look up to Jerry Seinfeld. I just love that he can do what he does so eloquently, and other people that I just adore. People that I love all comedians that are doing it for the right reasons, that are not trying to like compete with other people or just be or are nasty people. It's bad when you meet somebody. Have you ever met like a celebrity, or I hate that word? Have you ever met like an actor or somebody?
Yeah.
And we're
actually a couple years back, Jim Jeffries. I like him. He's one of my favorites. So.
He's one of mine too. He's a friend of mine. And how was the interaction? Okay. How did it go?
Oh, it was as friendly as could be.
He is.
It was after the show across the street from the Vic. We were at a bar. He went out and had a smoke, and I joined him and just chatted him up a little bit.
Isn't it interesting how just when a comedian's off stage, it's just he's like the sweetest guy in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And on stage, it would just be, funny R-rated stuff and talking about his opinions and stuff that would be over the top, what some people would call dirty, and he works a little bluer,
right.
But he also is quite sweet, and he's just a good man. Sorry, I went on a rant.
Absolutely.
There. Went on a rant. You mentioned Aristocrats. It kind of, I didn't tell the joke. Thanks for not forcing me. I've had guys really force me into telling it, and I don't do it. I don't like to be. You can't force comedy. You can't make people do it like you're a puppeteer.
So no real plans to ever try it again or roll it out at any point?
No, because it did its time. It was a long time ago. And it was interesting. When that came out, I was on Entourage a lot, and I was in a play off Broadway, and I had a special come out, and so I was in Rolling Stone as a maverick for saying fuck a lot. Boy, he says fuck better than any TV dad we ever had. But there's a lot of people that are great TV dads. Tim Allen, his stand-up was always like mine. We just talk like we talk in a stand-up situation. So, I don't know. Comedy is also great when it's done clean by wonderful people. So all it is whatever people want. And I'm coming from a good place with mine. And I always will, because I figured out all these years that I'm a good person. And I never read that I did something wrong. So apparently I haven't. So I don't know. Except I've offended a few people. A couple older ladies have walked out on my shows. But that was years ago. And I'd also touched them. No, you can't. I can't.
You're not doing it right if you don't offend somebody, right?
No, that's correct. You can't make you can't make everybody happy. But
Right.
but I like to make everybody happy. And now I'm at a place where rarely do people walk out. If it's a casino show, then sometimes people do it because they want to go gamble or they're, VIPs, and they want to come and go to
Right.
make themselves known. But otherwise, I'm doing shows. People are paying hard-earned money to have what I want them to have, which is the best night they can have. And now I'm working on a movie project, developing that right now, and working on another show and doing this, which I love. And I'm really appreciative you called in. You're a nice person, I can tell already. And I never let you talk, which is a really good sign. Craig,
Nothing wrong with that, Bob. It's a
Craig,
pleasure to hear from you.
when they say how was the conversation with Bob, you could say I said 4 things. But thanks, man.
You pulled an aristocrats on me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I always ask, and they either ask me that or talk to me like Danny Tanner, like you talk to Michelle, and I'm like, oh, I'm good. You take care of yourself. I'll see you in Chicago when I'm back, okay, or in Austin. We'll pick one or the other.
All right, sounds good, Bob. Thanks for calling.
Thanks, Craig. Stay safe and all that good stuff. Bye-bye, and we'll be right back. Hey, we're back, because why not be? I don't know. I got nowhere to go. Where are you going? Thank you for listening to this. And you got to do stuff when you listen to this. You got to rate it and review it and subscribe. And it says it up there. That's what I'm supposed to tell you. It's a world foreign to me, but every kid on my street has a podcast. But you want to rate, review, and subscribe, and only say nice stuff because, I'm a gentle soul. I can't take it. I'm going to try Michaela right now. That doesn't sound polite, but I'm going to see who Michaela is. And I think I know this area code, but I'm not sure. And I'm not going to say it out loud because I want to protect her entire area code. I hope she answers.
Hello?
Hi, Michaela. It's Bob Saget. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good.
Good. Good. I'm glad you picked up. Thank you.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting a call, actually. That's cool.
But you called and left a message. Thank you.
I did.
So, Michaela, that's a very pretty name. That's a pretty name. What is the background of that name?
My mom was like, well, originally I was going to be named Jasmine Jade. And she thought it sounded like a stripper name, so she didn't do that.
Yeah. It's a pretty name, though.
But, yeah. But she met some person in high school that had the name Michaela, and she was like, that's a nice name. I'm going to name my daughter that. And so here I am.
Well, that is a nice name. And I see your area code. I'm not going to say it out loud. Where are you located? What part of the world?
In Sacramento, California.
Oh, got it. Okay. But I'm not going to say your area code, but I'll make you say the city. I'm dumb. So how's it going up there? Are you taking care of yourself? Or are you safe?
Yeah, I mostly just, do online classes because I'm in college right now. But we're just doing online work right now,
And is everybody
remote work?
So school is still in session right now.
Yeah, school's in session.
Would you be there in person if this wasn't going on?
Oh yeah, definitely. I prefer in-person discussions and like lectures more than online work because when you're at home, you kind of just like, you watch TV or you just lay in bed. But when you have actual class, you have, responsibilities and priorities and you just got to do that,
Right. And what are you studying? Can you tell me? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Well, I'm just trying to get my general ed done, but I want to be a history teacher in high school.
Ah, bless you.
That's kind of my end goal.
That's noble
my
profession.
major right now is history.
Is it American history or do you do world history? What do you do?
Well, right now I'm taking a U.S. history class, but I would prefer to do all history. Like I would do world history and U.S. history, some geography, like physical geography, like American government, that kind of thing. Social science in general, I would like to teach.
We need you because the books are getting rewritten as we speak.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, especially how just the world is now, it'd be interesting to like your living history, basically, that kind of thing.
I wonder how the world's going to look back on this because we've had crazy times, but this is compounded. Now, did you have a question or a subject you wanted to discuss? Because I know you left a message.
So, yeah, I'm just gonna say it right now. Danny Tanner is my favorite character on Full House.
Oh, that's really sweet. I'm going to play this for Stamos. I want him to hear that.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like weird to tell you this or if you'll be freaked out, but I actually have like my phone case is a picture of you.
Oh, Michaela, that's so sweet.
Yeah, like I started watching Full House when I was 12,
right,
on Nick at Night, and I was like, wow, this is such a good show. You know, my mom was like, oh, I remember this show. My dad was like, I remember this show, and now it's easily one of my favorite shows. But then I saw your comedy. And some people are like, oh, how could you watch his comedy? It's so different. But, like, I love that kind of humor. I live on that humor.
Oh, thank you.
So
thank
it was
you.
like, it was like two great things in one, to see, like, the show I love and then to see the comedy that I love. It was so, like, I love the crude humor, everything, you know?
I don't do it purposely. It's just kind of, when I started doing stand-up, I was 17, and that's what I did. I would do comedy songs about bondage when I was 17. So something was wrong with me, clearly, but it's how I dealt with life and what I found funny. But it's funny. I guess I'm like a Reese's peanut butter cup, you know? I've got those two combos. But I'm on your phone case. That's like, I mean, I know that I'm tattooed on some people. They've sent me pictures. There's stuff online.
Oh, wow.
It's everywhere. People's everywhere. Some people they want me to sign like their chest so that I will. A young lady would do that, and I said I can't do that. She said no, but I want to put a tattoo over it. And I said, well, that's even more reason not to put my signature there, because I can't.
I actually, like right now, I actually have a framed photo. Like it's something that I found online, and it's just like a weird just picture of you smiling. I don't know. It's just something nice to just have right there.
That's really
on my desk.
That's so sweet. I don't know what to say.
I hope that doesn't freak you out.
No,
like,
not at all.
Like,
not
18,
at all. I've got like Yoda. I've got a picture of Yoda.
Oh, that's cool.
But that's like, well, I guess
you're like my idol, you know.
Oh man, Michaela, you're killing me here. That's so sweet. It makes me happy, but it's embarrassing, but it's also really sweet. You know. I
went to my first comedy show with you.
Where was it?
It was in Lincoln, California.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
You only go to Lincoln once.
Yeah, my mom took me, and it was supposed to be like an 18th birthday gift, and I was probably like the youngest one there.
Right. Well, my stuff's it's like South Park. I mean, it doesn't really, well, it's not political, but it doesn't really go as crude as people think it is, except for one special. I just dropped a lot of F-bombs, but the new stuff I'm doing, I was ready to go do a special this year. And of course that's majorly delayed because I've got to put the tour, rescheduled it all and all that, as we all do. And as audiences have to wait till we can all be congregated again. But I think it's more palatable for people. It has more stories in it, but it still has my strange way of whatever the hell I do. I don't even know what it is. It's a combination of 5 styles that I've acquired that definitely have been influenced by people, believe it or not, by Richard Pryor and Don Rickles.
Where can I find your podcast?
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It is literally everywhere. Yeah. Apple, iTunes, Spotify, literally every single place. So that's the fun part about it. And it's Bob Saget's Here for You, and it has a picture of me. And then it says it says the first, I don't know my own slogan, my own byline. It says the first, I can't talk. It says the third, yeah, that's not a word. It says the first podcast done by a comedian, ... ever. And that's obviously facetious because it's, the whole world is doing a podcast, and every friend I have, I've been on their podcasts. But this is just something that I really wanted to do right now. It was not, and it came, I was going to do it the end of last year. I started getting ready to do it. picked the right company to put it out, Studio 71, and then the next thing I knew, here I was doing something that served this time really well.
hmm
A bunch of
Well,
things
I
did.
really appreciate what you're doing, because I never hear of celebrities reaching out to like regular old day Joes and people and stuff, like especially their fans. Like this is just new to me.
Well, that's really sweet, but I don't think there's any difference between a person that's well known and another person. And, yeah, they have amazing talent. And yes, people do go after them. So sometimes they have to protect themselves more. But to think you're better than another person because you're famous and you're in it's like high school, you're in the A club and then everybody else is down in the lower place. But that's life. There's always been stations in life, and look at, the billionaires and the millionaires and how the world looks at everything right now. It's in everybody's face. It always has been since the beginning of time. Just watch Game of Thrones. Watch Titanic. Who's in steerage? Leonardo DiCaprio, the star of the movie. I don't want to give it
Yeah.
away in case people didn't see Titanic. I don't want to spoil it.
I saw that movie before.
Oh yeah, there's no one that missed it. I think more people saw Titanic than Full House. In fact, the cast from Full House should have John Stamos and the whole cast should have been on the Titanic. We should have been there. Just DiCaprio's running through the ship as it's going down, and he just sees all of us in there, just like living like nothing's wrong, living our little 2-dimensional life, and then he just goes and tries to save Rose, who didn't do anything to help him, as we all know. But
so I had a question.
Yes, please.
Well, actually, I had 2 questions. So I wanted to know what your favorite color was.
It would be blue.
Like, you had a favorite color, blue. That's cool.
Yep. I like it because of the sky and the ocean, and the sky's cleaner right now, but it might not be in the months ahead. But right now, it's pretty. And what's your next question? Because usually there's 3 parts when the first question is what's your favorite color.
My second question, my dad wanted to ask this, but there's this episode of Full House where DJ and Stephanie put a hole in the wall, and it's the Hole in the Wall gang.
Yep.
And in order to get out of trouble, they sang a song to Danny Tanner. Do you still sing that song to yourself sometimes, or do you still like think of that song sometimes?
I do not remember what the song was. Do you?
Yeah, it goes like, Dad, he's our dad. He cleans his room with a mop and a broom, and it's like them BSing the song just like get out of trouble. And Danny Tanner's like, oh, I love this song. This is so great.
I do remember that now because they were making it up as they went along because they were in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. And I also remembered I made up a song, and I never asked for royalties for it, but I did. And I kind of stole an Elvis Costello way of singing it. And whoever lived downstairs, that was Stephanie, right? Or did DJ live downstairs? Who lived downstairs before the recording? I can't remember the order of who lived downstairs. You would know, right?
I remember on the first ever episode, DJ was downstairs because she didn't want to share a room with Stephanie.
Right.
And then Joey ended up taking that place.
Yes. And then after that, DJ Candace did wind up downstairs because I remember coming downstairs and she was sick, and I came down with a tray of food, and I went, here's some tuna fish and soup. It's nutritious and delicious, and it's great to fight infection for the family that I love. That was it. That was what I sang. And all of the cast,
it's so good, yeah.
We still sing it to each other. I mean, we were texting the other day because we put out that crazy, full quarantine TikTok video.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it traveled. But we were texting all day to get that done. And it just cracks me up. And then Natasha, Candace's daughter, is who cut it. That's the world we're in. An 18, 19-year-old gets things done. Well, anyway, you're a sweetheart. Thank you so much. I'm flattered that I'm on your phone case. I'm flattered there's a picture of me. It's so sweet of you to I don't know. I'm just honored. So thank you very much. And stay well, and take care. And
thank you.
Tell your dad hi. And thank you. And be safe and have a great night.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That is so sweet. I mean, I'm on her phone case, which means I was going to say stuff like, so you've got me on your face. I can't say stuff like that. But she likes it. She likes the irreverent comedy. And then her dad saw me in Half Baked. So that's nice to reach people from every demo with different intentions. Well, that was really a very fun show for me. It was just three people that I had a moment with. It's Melissa and Craig and Michaela. So this has been another episode of Bob Saget's Here for You. I don't like saying goodbye, but you learn as you get older, it's good to do it. When I was young, see, I didn't do it yet. When I was young, I realized that I did not know how. I was always trying to meet a girl and have a girlfriend, and I had a couple. And then I realized that the key to it was, and it's the same with guys. It's the same with, if you want a boyfriend, the key is to act like you don't want it, which is acting, which doesn't make sense. But that's what a lot of people just naturally were like, where they were able to just go, hey, you want to go out? Oh, cool. Never mind. All right. And then don't look back at the other person. That was like a trick. And now you learn that's how you conduct a good meeting. You just say, thank you very much, and you leave with dignity. That has nothing to do with trying to hook up with somebody or get laid in high school. Well, this has been another episode of Bob Saget's Here for You, and there will be more because I can't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. And rate, review, and subscribe. And take care of yourselves. Don't scratch spider bites. Don't touch cardboard with your face. Don't French kiss a UPS driver unless you're his wife or husband and you're feeling it's safe. I wouldn't do it anyway. I mean, there's a lot of boxes around. I mean, just wait till it's a safer time and then French kiss as many people as you want. Guys, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't want to. There's herpes. I mean, maybe that's the next virus. Oh, no, we already conquered that. There's a pill, I understand. I never got them, to my knowledge. I don't know. We'll find out right after this. Anyway, that's the end of the show. I'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves, everybody. Be safe, be well. All that nice stuff that I actually mean. All right. Ciao, Bella. That's Italian for goodbye, beautiful. All right. Longest goodbye. Bye.